So, Nam aloha, everybody. Welcome for your patience. Welcome and thank you for your patience. And if you could write down your human design type, if you know it, and your profile, your type, your authority, if you know that. Okay. Okay. We got some comments, so that's good. Great. Okay. So today I want to talk about the new moon that's coming up on November 12th. My time, my neck of the woods, just before midnight. Um, but it will probably be November 13th on the mainland. It depends where you live. Okay, so this is the human design transit chart for this new moon. And let's get into it here. And we'll talk about the program. Okay, let me get here. Okay, so you can see that the moon is in the 43.2, that's Scorpio. Okay, with the sun, that makes it the new moon, and also Mars is in there in the 43. So you can see that it's making some definition, isn't it? So this is the ajna, this is your personal mind, and then the throat chakra right here. And so this is what gives it definition. So these are 9 centers, right? So these 2 centers, and they correlate to the chakra system too, if you're a yogi. So the ajna is not your third eye, right? In yogic teachings, they teach you, well, the ajna chakra is your third eye. This isn't in human design, it's your own personal mind, right? So it's communicating from the mind. So this is the definition here is it's called the genius channel. I've talked about it before. So it's all about insights, having insights. So what I want to say before we get into this, so this is the transit chart, but you also, like in astrology, have your own natal chart. So this transit works different than astrology. Okay. So this is called the program, right? So there's the matrix, you could call it, the simulation that we live in, Maya, right? The ancient yogis would call it Maya. And it comes through this field of information that we live in. That 70% of the subatomic particles called neutrinos, and this is where this imprint comes from. This is an imprint of the neutrinos on the exact time, November 12th, right? So it gives us a little window in what this next cycle's about, but the program is not you. It's not you. So this program is influencing us. Basically, it's about the survival of the species. How do we survive as a species? It doesn't care about your individual destiny. It doesn't care about your dharma. It doesn't care about your authenticity at all. This is just about keeping the collective alive, right? It's a one size fits all. So the danger of this, I mean, there's always collateral damage, right? When you just follow along with the crowd, there's always collateral damage. Some have to go. They're called, right? Called species are called. But the new 400-year cycle that we're entering into that starts in 2027, it's not about following the crowd anymore. It's all about authenticity. That's your new power, this new 400-year cycle. So that's what I'm committed to on this channel, is because I'm an 8. My son is in the 8, and my motivation is leader. And it's all about leading people into their authentic self and preparing them for 2027. So you can't just go along to get along anymore. It's dangerous to follow the crowd. Since 1615, right, to 2027, yeah, you could be safe. For sure, you'd be safe. We were motivated to be in communities and groups and tribes, and that was positive for each person. But now we're entering in a whole new cycle. So the game has changed. The rules have changed, and it's now about being your authentic self. So what I'm teaching you here now is what the matrix program is. right? So if you don't have these exact numbers in your natal chart, then you're, if let's say if you got the 43, you don't have it in the sun position, it pulls you away from you, your authentic self. You're a not self, right? It's not who you really are. And this is not what you've come on this planet to do, especially in this time period. We've come at a pivotal time in our human history. We're closing up a cycle of the last epoch of humanity, that we're here to be our unique, authentic self, not our not self, right? There's no rewards in this anymore. And we're going to see that more and more and more and more. So this is the chaos that we're seeing out in the world, is the breakdown of this old matrix. And then the new matrix is going to surface from that place. Okay. So that's all I want to say about that. Okay. So if you don't know your human design type, at least minimally know your human design type, because you really have to know yourself, especially if you're a generator and manifesting generator. You have to know yourself. I'm a projector. I'm here to help the other types, right? And guide them to be their authentic self in particular, right? So at least minimally know your type, and that will give you a strategy to try to navigate through these times, right? Where that you'll be safe and you'll have the experience you've come to have, which is unique to you. But this is the one size fits all transit. Okay, so we've got the 43. So let's talk about the sun and the earth here. Okay, the sun and the earth. So this is the theme. Whoops. My 7 of cups. Well, we'll leave the 7 of cups here. So the 4323, right? This is the theme of this month, according to the simulation, right? So what's the theme this month? This is the theme that the matrix is pushing out for our survival. So the sun spotlights it, the theme, and then the earth is what grounds it. So remember, this energy is not for you unless you have the 43.2 or the 23.2, then you. Yeah, rock on, right? This resonates with you. It's you. But anyone else, no, it's not you. And even if it's flipped, maybe you're a Taurus with the same degree, right? The same degree of the Scorpio sun, right? It's the same thing. It's not you. It's flipped. It's not you. So this is really what's conditioning our mind, right? The conditioning field that we're under is conditioning our mind. And what's it conditioning us to is about insights, okay, right there. So this, if you don't have this channel, it's going to feel like you have this channel. If you don't have the ajna, the personal mind defined, or the throat, it's going to feel like it's defined for you, but it's not real. It's an illusion. Okay, so what do you do with that? Well, okay, if I have insight, that's awesome. That's awesome if I have insights. Okay, I'm in the illusion, but I don't act from the illusion. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I have this amazing insight, and then I go and run and I make decisions from it. Like, no, you don't do that. You go back to your natal chart and how you're designed to make your own decisions, how you're designed to work as an individual, right? So this is how you can use this energy. So this is where we get into trouble, is when this is what's called being our not self. Because really what this is for, it's for all the little souls that are going to be probably big souls right now, big souls incarnating on the new moon. This is them. This isn't you. This is for them. That's not for you. Okay. So let's look at the theme here. So this is like, okay, we're going to see insights. Like, let's look out in the collective, right? We're going to see people with insights, and it's going to seem like it's individual, right? People are having these amazing insights, and they're going to project it because it's the second line. See there, 43.2 and 23.2. So they're going to project it outward, right? They'll project that outward, that I know. Right? This is the I know channel. I know what to do, what we have to do, right? So And this is the people that, you know, this is deafness. The 43 that's connected to the moon, right? This is deafness. This is the deafness. So if we go down to the Mars, so the Mars represents what needs to change, what needs to mutate on the planet. This is what the thing that needs to change, and this is what the collective's like grinding against. So it's echoing this 43. So this is about the knowing again, right? This is about knowing. I know, I know, I know, I know. And it's connected to the fourth line. And this is about I'm fixed on it. So what's this showing us overall? What needs to change is we have to start listening to one another, right, on this planet. Because right now, this conditioning field is going to have people focused on their own noise box in their head, their own mind, what their own mind is saying, and they're going to be convinced, right? This is what needs to change. I'm convinced that I know. I have all the answers. I know, I know, I know. And I'm deaf to everybody else. I'm not listening to anybody else. I'm not interested in what anybody else has to say. You listen to me, right? The 43.4. So this needs to change. We have to stop being deaf to one another, right? Okay. So you can bring this into your own personal life, right? And maybe your Mars isn't there, but you're going to see this out in the world, right? We're already seeing this out in the world. So this is the one track mind, the 43.4. And it's very stubborn. And it's stubborn because it's listening to that mind. It has no idea that there's anything greater than my own mind, right? I worship my mind and my mental abilities, and I can throw a word salad at anybody. I can argue them till the cows come home. But does it mean that I know? No, doesn't mean that I know, right? So this is really what has to change, right? Right here. That's what Mars in this position is telling us right here. So it's obsession with knowing. And remember, your authenticity, when you claim your authenticity, is when you claim your own strategy and your own authority and your own uniqueness, and human design gives you a map for that. Then you start loving yourself, right? You start listening to your own inner authority. That's what we're here to do. We're not here to give our power to other people and that they know more than you, right? So let this, right? This needs to change. We have to start listening to people and not being so deaf, right? Not being deaf to others. And if you want to be deaf to anything, it's be deaf to that, you know, the mainstream news, mainstream media, because that's part of this program, that we're in. Okay, so that's got to change with the Mars. And then what else did I want to say about that theme? And the 23 is part of that. It's just part of the communicating, right? I'm going to communicate my knowingness, and I know, and they're going to be so. We're going to see this in the new moon is I know. And it's going to be fervent, right? Fervent. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. And let them know, right? Let them spew off their knowingness. You just don't fall for it, right? Don't fall for it. But it doesn't mean that they do know, right? So if you have this natally, say you have this natally, then that changes it, doesn't it? And so what I want to say to the people that have this natally, they've got the 43.2 and the 23.2. Maybe they've got different numbers. It's all about timing, right? With your knowingness. And this is individuality. So if you have this, it's about being invited, right? It's a projector channel. It's to be invited to give your knowingness, your insight, because it's insight, right? And then you give that. Okay, so and you not be afraid. If you have this natally, don't be afraid to show your knowingness, because that's what you're here to do. You're here to share this. I know lots of people with this 40. Both my parents have had this, but they were afraid to share. right? Because as children, they probably got shot down. You don't know anything. What do you know? You're just a kid, right? And then you shut it down, and then your power as an individual starts to like tank. You lose your power as an individual, because this is what you're here to do. You're here to share your knowingness. But if you don't have this, you're not here to share your knowingness, right? If you don't have this 4323. Okay, so just be on the lookout of that, because we're going to be, it's a global transit. We're going to see people expressing that out, right? Thinking that they got all the answers. Okay. And what else did I want to say before I get into the nodes? It was so funny, that last video I did. It was all about these nodes. So I think we need to just talk about the nodes again. Okay. So what are the nodes? The nodes are like the movie screen, right? So let's go back here. So the nodes are like the movie screen, right? So you have your own natal nodes. This is the matrix, right? This is the movie screen that you're watching, right? That we're conditioned to watch, right? And this is where it gets played out. So the matrix or the simulation is saying, look this way, look over here, you'll survive if you look this way, if you look this way, the program. And so what we see is really a mental construct, right? That overlays us, because we're not all here to see this. We have our own movie. Well, I don't have this. Like, check out your notes. Do I have that? Do you have this or not? And it's got to be the 0.5. If you got a 0.2 or 0.1, then that's not the same movie. That's a different movie too, right? So, so this is not the movie that you've come to watch. If you don't have this in your, so check out your chart. Oh, yeah, I don't have this. That's not my movie. But the program wants you focused on this movie, So it's kind of the mental construct. It's kind of like the virtual reality goggles, the glasses that you put on. That's like the 4232 is put on everybody's head, right? That's the program. And that's not what everybody's here to come and see. So you can see how we're all focused on this 4232. And what happens? We lose our movie. Have you ever gone into a theater, and there's like 8 or one of those multiplex ones? Right? I don't even know if they have. I haven't seen a movie in a long time in a theater, but I used to go all the time. When those big ones, there's 12 of them and stuff, and you maybe end up in the wrong movie, right? It's like, this isn't my movie. When it starts to play, I got to get in a different movie. Well, it's the same thing. You're in the wrong movie, right? You're in the movie where billions of people are sitting and watching this movie, but it's not your movie. Your movie's like down the hall, right? With whatever your nodes are. So it's a good way. This is neti, right? Neti in yogic teachings. It's like, that's not me. This is what I'm teaching you. This isn't me. This isn't me. What is me, right? This is what I've come here to experience, not this, not the one size fits all, supersize me experience, right? So we lose our viewpoint, and then we're conditioned to see. So what you're seeing is you're seeing from the program when you're in this movie. So instead of the mind, right, our mind is, instead of just observing, right, observing and watching the movie, when we're conditioned in this way, when we're conditioned with this 4232, then the mind gets in there. It's like, well, I'm seeing and everybody else is seeing. I better do something about it. I better make decisions from this place. And it's not correct for you. Not if this is not your movie. It's not correct for you to make decisions from that place, right? Because we have our own nodal path, our own movie to watch that we're destined to see. We've come to see our particular movie. So remember that the ego will blow this out of proportion, right? And it makes us believe that we've got to figure it out. As soon as those words come out of your mouth, right? I got to figure this out. I have to figure this out right away. That's a big sign, big red flag. I am in the simulation. I've been trapped in the simulation. As soon as I say I've got to figure it out, because you're in your mind, Your mind is only here to observe and to communicate, right? To observe, communicate, research, right? That's about it, not to make your decisions from, right? So no figuring it out. Since I got to figure this out, okay, I'm not being myself. I've got my own unique strategy and authority, right? So why this is so difficult, why is it so difficult for people to jump out of this, is because we can feel that this is us, right? It feels so real to be in this movie when it's not us. Okay, so I talked about the 32 and 42 before, but I want to reiterate it. Okay, so the 32 is off the spleen. Whoops, the spleen here. Let's go green. The 32 is off the spleen. This is our ancient awareness system right here, most ancient awareness system. And this is about keeping the species alive. It's about our human survival. And then we've got the 42 is right there. And that's coming off the sacral. That's our energy, right? Our energy center, life force energy. So we're in both of these. So what's the movie here? Well, this is the channel of duration or continuity. It's tribal, right? It's tribal. Remember, it can be tribal, collective, individual. And we're leaving behind tribal consciousness. So 32 is connected to the money, the moolah, the dough, the cash, right? 32. And it's connected to tribal because it's material, right? Tribal consciousness is all about material. It's all about the ego, right? It's if you want a master class in what tribal consciousness is, I just watched this week, the whole series of The Godfather. I haven't really watched it from the lens of like human design, but there's tribal consciousness right there in a nutshell, right? The underbelly of it, but it's got all the bargain, right? The bargain, the family, right? So it has to do with money, the 32, and it's the fear of failure. It's the fear of failure. I won't have enough. I won't have enough to survive, right? I've got to accumulate. I've got to hoard my money. I can't spend it, right? All those thoughts. You're in the wrong movie if you're having these thoughts. And then the 42, the 32 and the 42 is and it's universalized. You see that? It's a fifth line, 42.5 and then 32.5. That means it's universalized. It's universalized. It's all out there in the collective, right? We want to universalize this, right? And look, there's so much fear around money. What's going to happen to the economy? It's going to crash. What's going to happen to the dollar and inflation? Because we're all watching this movie. We're all watching this movie. And then projecting on each other, because it's the fifth line, right? Projecting. They have more resources than I do. I don't have enough, and they have too much. Look at all the houses they own, and comparing, right, yourself to others. That's the fifth line theme too. And then the 42 is all about diversifying resources. So if we look at the note, let's look at the nodal. If we look at from a different perspective, I want to look at these from different perspectives. So, okay, it's not my movie, but there's a nodal lesson in each one, right? So the nodal lesson is to leave this behind, this tribal consciousness about conserving and hoarding and fear of money and will I survive, to the 42.5, which is all about sharing, right? Sharing resources and not being afraid to do something new because you won't be supported, right? Because this is all about support. Tribal consciousness is the bargain. If I do this, right? If I pay into this government, right, institution, then I'm going to have my Social Security when I retire and this and that, the bargain, and that bargain's breaking down. The bargain is totally breaking down because this new 400-year cycle is coming in and there's nowhere in it that the bargain's there. This is what we're seeing disappear, right? So this is about sharing. 42 is about sharing and sharing what you have. And it doesn't necessarily have to be material. It's collective, right? We have lots of resources that we can share, and I did a video on that. So it's about the 42 is about completion too. So it's completing this cycle, this end of this striving, right? The 54, 32. 54 is the shadow of greed, right? This is the channel of transformation. It's about ambition and getting to the top. This is ending, right? The 42 is like we're completing this cycle. We're completing this cycle. Okay. Okay. So it's about having new experiences, right? The 42 is about having new experiences too and letting go of this fear of failure. I'm not going to let this fear of failure stop me from this maybe insights, right? Maybe you're getting some insights, but remember to go back to your strategy and authority. Am I a projector? Then I need to be recognized and be invited, right? Or if I'm a generator, I need to respond with a yes or no, right? So you always want to go there. You never want to act from this place, but we can use these transits, right? That's what I'm saying, to be more efficient. Okay. So you got to watch the projection for this new moon projecting onto others. Okay. What else did I want to talk about? I want to talk about one more before we get into the die. Which one do I want to talk about? Okay. Venus. Let's talk about Venus. Okay. There's Venus. Venus, Venus, Venus. There, right there. 18.2. Right? There's the 18 coming off the spleen again. So these are all fears, all these gates here and off the spleen. And what's the 18? Is the fear of authority. I'm afraid of authority. Right there. So what's Venus represent? It represents the headlines and the media, what the media is pumping out for this new moon. It's the social themes, and it's what the Maya, the simulation, is promoting, right? So the 18, what's it promoting? It's promoting judgment. It's promoting judgment, and it's the gate of correction, right? It's the gate of correction. And so this is about seeing the flaws, what needs to be corrected, what's wrong with the Titanic. Everything in the remember the Titanic is this old cycle, the cross of planning that's coming down, the 400-year cycle. The 18, the media is like, look at all what's wrong with this Titanic that's sinking, instead of get off the Titanic, right? Get off this cross and start embracing these new themes of the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is, in a nutshell, is your authenticity, right? Your uniqueness, right? So the 18 is like, what's wrong? So we're going to see this out in the headlines. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And remember, it's a 2, so it's a total projection. It's a total projection. And so what's not perfect, right? What needs to be fixed? Except there's no solutions here, right? There's no solution. So there's the media. This is wrong. That's wrong. This person's wrong. This needs to be corrected, and provide no solutions. What does that do for people? Makes them feel powerless, right? Look at all these huge problems that can't be fixed, right? That can't be fixed. And this is the 18.2. It's called terminal disease. There's keynotes that go with each one of these, right? So this is terminal disease. So this is like, it's pointing out things that cannot be fixed. They can't be fixed, right? So let's look at maybe our political system as it is right now, right? To look at something like that can't be fixed. It has to be torn down and rebuilt. It's too corrupted. It's too rotted, right? That system. Let's use that for example. Well, it's pointing out the things that can't be fixed, that can't be corrected, that they're in decay, right? That's the 42 too, as well. The 30, our movie that we're being shown is we're seeing things that are in decay, right? In decay, and it's scary. So this can create a lot of tension in your body, right? When you're looking at these headlines and you're looking at social media. And it's the media is not going to tell you what I'm going to tell you, right? The media is going to tell you that we're not going to give up on this. We're going to keep pointing fingers and blaming, right? It's projection 18.2. It's them, right? And it's authority, right? It has to do with authority, the 18 challenging authority. And we're going to see that out with the social uprisings and things like that the media is covering, right? And so what else do I want to say about that? Well, the lesson is here's you got your own Venus. You got your own values, what's important to you. And if you got the 18.2, then that's important for you. You've got to learn to let go of the people that don't want to be changed. If you have this natally, 18.2, it's about not focusing your energy on something that doesn't want to change, right? These old systems do not want to change because they're dying, right? Okay. And so if you have this 18.2 as well, then you can drive people crazy, right? Because you won't let go. I need to fix this person. I need to fix this person. Say if they're an addict or something like that, and you're an enabler, you're in that role, then you 18.2, that's 18.2 energy. I'm going to fix him or her if it kills me, right? I won't let go. I won't let go. I won't let go of this. Instead of moving on, the media is not going to tell you this. Move on to things that can be corrected, right? That can be corrected. Okay. So let's go to the die. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. I just want to check if there's anything interesting on here. Questions or whatnot. Okay, everybody's putting their thing down. Okay. Okay. Oh, the other thing I want to say too, because everybody's got a flavor to their chart. That's like deep, deep, deep into your chart, your natal chart. And the flavor in this chart, the transit chart, is innocence. So this is just watching, observing. So you're not going to see a lot of action for this new moon. And action meaning, right? Like any kind of leadership, right? Any kind of movement forward, progression on the external anyway. There's lots going on in the internal. We're not going to see that. We're going to see a lot of passivity, right? For this new moon. And maybe you felt that yourself, like, where are the leaders? Why won't anybody take the wheel? Why won't anyone take the wheel? Because this is the program, right? This is the program. So if you have the flavor of innocence in your chart, then that's correct for you. You're just here to observe and to watch and not have agendas. But if you got a different flavor, then this isn't correct for you, right? This is the opposite of me. My flavor is leadership, right? So I'm not just here to watch. I'm here to help people. Okay. And then it's the right angle cross. This is the incarnation cross. It comes from the right angle cross of explanation. So a lot of talking, right? And explaining, trying to explain, a lot of communication here. And I'll talk about Mercury unless I don't get it here. Okay, so everybody knows their type. Everybody knows their type. Okay, so we're going to start off with the MGs because they're the most impatient of all the types. The manifesting generator. So this is the type, and so it describes your aura type, right? So you've got the open and enveloping aura. Do you see that aura? You got the teddy bear aura, open and enveloping aura, and your strategy is to respond from this sacral, right? You respond with a yes or a no. That's all. So what you do is you attract in all these experiences, right? You're aware, you're watching your own movie, right? You're watching your own movie, and if these aren't yours, then that's not your movie. You're going to bring your focus to your movie, right? It's not like you don't see the third, like I still see the 3242, but I'm not focused on that. My commitment is to focus on my movie, and that's when I start to notice. And when you start to notice your movie is when you know that you're being yourself. So as MGs, as long as you use your strategy of yes and no, you'll start to see your movie more and more and more. And that's what you're here to see, not the program matrix movie. Okay. So, and then if you're not operating correctly, you're going to feel frustrated, right? So that goes with, say you're in the program, you're fully pulled in the program. You don't know what's up, what's down. You're so conditioned. You're not self. And then you start making your decisions. I better do something about money because everybody's seeing the same movie. We're all talking about money, 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 money. And this fear of extinction, the 32, global warming, and the humanity's going to be extinct, and we're ruining the planet, and genocide, and all the words, right? And then you start making your decisions from that place, which are incorrect. You're going to feel frustrated and angry. That's a sign right there. I'm not operating correctly. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. We're seeing it, right? This is 35% of the population. Manifesting generators and generators make 70% of the world. That's why we see so much frustration out in the world and feel it, because it's all these generators not being themselves, right? So when you're operating correctly, right? If these generators like grabbed a spine, I'm speaking to you from a projector, grabbed a spine, and were courageous enough and brave enough and had enough self-love to stand up for themselves. And if they can't stand up for their children, this matrix movie would shift and change so quickly, right? But the not self are stuck in their frustration, right? Stuck in frustration, trying to be someone they're not, all scared little bunnies, right? And all they're scared of is this program. That's all an illusion, right? So this is your not self. If, okay, yes, I'm an MG or a generator, and I'm so frustrated, I'm so angry, or I'm depressed. That's a sign too, right? You want to be fulfilled. So you want to have the self-esteem to say, no, this is what they're after. They're not after me. I don't got the energy. They're not after the manifestors or reflectors. They're after you guys, the generators and the manifesting generators, to feed this program. Keep feeding the simulation with your energy. As soon as you say no, right, you start saying no when things are not correct for you, then the access ends. And then it's not fed. And what happens when you don't feed something? It dies. It goes away, doesn't it? Right? It will just leave and go away. So it's very important for the generators and the MGs to start operating as yourself. You've got a lot of power because you've got all that energy. You've been lied to that you got no power, right? Okay. Especially the manifesting generators. Okay. You've been tricked out of your energy. Okay. So let's see. So what I've got again is the die. Right. See that? And it's got all the little planets and the nodes of the moon. So I'm going to roll the die for the MGs, and then we'll focus on one of these positions. Okay. So just give me a second here to tune in. For all the manifesting generators, what do they need to be aware of? Okay. Pluto. Pluto. Right here. Okay. So what does Pluto represent in the matrix? Truth. Right? So this is what? There's 8 billion people. This is the 18 billion people's version of truth. That's the propaganda right there. Right? Version of truth. So you have your own version of truth according to your natal chart. This is the matrix. This is a simulation, right? So there's the root right here on the chart, and there's the 60. And the 60 is the shadow of limitation. It's a shadow of limitation. So the matrix, the simulation wants us to know and to believe that we are limited. We are limited, right? By these physical forms, by this mind, right? By this, our five senses, that we're limited. This is all we are. We're just material. That's the propaganda. And so this is the conditioned truth that the matrix is promoting, and the one truth that billions and billions of people should embrace. Remember, we have our own truth. So this is part of the channel of mutation that I talked about before. Very powerful. So this is the gate of acceptance. It's about the gate of acceptance right here. And so mutation doesn't happen until you just start accepting. I would say accepting your limitations in terms of being a manifesting generator, right? That there's things that I can't do as a manifesting generator, right? I can't initiate. That's not correct for me, right? Everybody, that's the manifestor. That's not you. I can't do this. I can't initiate. I can't make decisions from my mind. I can't make decisions from my mind, right? That's a limitation. But when you start to limit this is high frequency limitation, right? When you start to limit yourself, okay, well, this is my strategy. I'm going to just try it out. Don't believe me. Just try it out. Have the experience of the yes or no. I'm going to start to obey my sacral. Your sacral is going to, around the navel area, it's going to speak to you, yes or no. Yes or no, if it's correct for you or not. So start off with getting your friends or your trusted friends or your partner or whatever, or your children to ask you yes or no questions. Start off small, baby steps, right? Do you want some more broccoli? And then before you go into your mind, like, I should eat more broccoli because I read on the social media that it has the vegetable with the most protein and it's got fiber and blah, blah. Don't go there. Go to your sacral. Your sacral knows. Yes, no, I don't want broccoli. My body doesn't want broccoli. There's a no, and you don't have, and then you know, right? So this is how you can tune into this sacral. And when you start obeying, not just listening, but because there's one thing, it's like, oh, my sacral said no to broccoli, but I ate it anyway. And it's like, oh, I got indigestion or something like that, right? It's to obey it. That's when the strength of this sacral gets stronger and stronger, right? So you can do that. So it's about maybe accepting, to use this energy to accept. Know that this isn't your truth. If you don't have 60, Pluto and Capricorn, I don't know. I guess there could be some Pluto and Capricorns on this channel, but then maybe you got another Capricorn number in there. You got to have the 60, right? The 60. And this can make us feel depressed too. The 60 can make us feel depressed. And that's how I would use this energy with the Pluto, but know that you're not limited by what the government, little g, tells us to do. I'm so limited. This is the propaganda, the truth, right? we've got to obey these unelected officials that live in Switzerland or whatever, right? And they're going to tell us what to do. That's like the propaganda. Nobody has that kind of power over you, right? This limitation. So it's about looking through and seeing in truth, right? And the truth is that you're here to be yourself and you've got your own power as an MG, right? And then it's second line, so it's going to be projection out, right? The projection out, that we're the ones in power, right? We're all limited. And you've got almost 8 billion people believing that they're limited, then that's going to be a hard conditioning field to move out of, isn't it? But as you obey more and more your sacral, it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then this gives you that power and that oomph to move out of this conditioning field so that you can at least see, right, that this isn't me. This isn't me at all. This isn't my truth. I'm not buying into this limitation. And the other thing to remember too is like, look at your own life, everybody, with the 60.2. This is accepting limitations that maybe no longer apply. These are the people that were in lockdown, right? They're in lockdown since 2020, right? Or they were made to wear the mask, right? Mandated to wear the mask, let's say that. And they're still wearing it, right, to this day, 2023, even though this mandate was lifted, right? But they're still wearing that. This is the 60.2. It's holding on to this limitation even when it doesn't serve anymore, when you don't really have to, right? It's buying into the limitation. So look at that in your life. It's like, what limitation have I taken on and believed in, and I still feel like I'm limited, right? You're in the prison cell, and somebody came in with the key and they opened up the door for you, but you don't leave. You don't leave that prison cell because you believe that you're still limited. You believe that the door is still locked. You can't even see that the door is open, right? That would be the 60.2 energy. So look at that, manifesting generators, is where do I still believe that I'm limited? Where do I still believe that I'm limited? And then go to your own Pluto. That's your truth. That's your truth, your individual truth. This is about uniqueness, right? And then step out of that. No, I'm not limited. I'm just believing that with my mind. I still believe that I'm limited, but I'm not, right? I'm still falling for this. Okay. Okay. Very, very good for manifesting generators. Okay. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to add to that just came up in my awareness is when opportunities come, right? Because you got the open enveloping aura, you're just like a magnet bringing those opportunities. Life's because you got the life energy, right? Generating life, right? Boom, boom, boom. All these opportunities are coming in. You're yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Well, don't go to the mind, because the mind will go into that limitation. Well, I can't do that because, and the mind's always going to the past, or it's projecting on the future. You're going to go into the sacral and you're going to go with the yes or the no, right? So as soon as you're going into the mind, I got to figure this out. I got to do my pros and cons list. It's like you're under the shadow of limitation there, and it's not real for you, not in this sense, not when it's coming from the mind. Okay, so that's the MG. Okay. Okay. So Rumpel says got the 60 in Pluto. So you're a Pluto and Capricorn then generation from 2008. That it would apply like this is for each individual sign, but I hope that people watch the whole thing, right? Because you're going to learn a lot about your own chart in this field, this conditioning field. Okay, so let's go for the generators. So same thing, right? The generators and manifesting generators are kind of under the same umbrella, but I like to separate them. So that's 35% are generators. Same thing, generators. Open and enveloping aura. You're here to respond with a yes or no from your sacral. You don't want to feel frustrated. That's a big sign that you're not operating correctly. You want to feel fulfilled. You want to feel fulfilled. And you want to feel exhausted at the end of the night when you're going to bed. Right? You put your head on the pillow and you feel, oh, I feel so good because I really use my energy today in things that are really correct for me, right? That's a sign. But if you're going to bed and you're frustrated and you're going over the day and this and that, and I can't believe I did that, and they said that to me, and it's like you were not operating correctly that day. And then you reflect, right? Then you reflect on how to do things. No, what is it? Know better, do better. So let's go for the generator. We're going to roll the die and see what planet we get. And then we'll talk about the transit, the number that correlates with the planet. So what are the generators? What do the generators need to be aware of? Okay. Jupiter. Jupiter. Okay, so let's go for Jupiter. So Jupiter here, let me just move myself over here. Okay, so there's Jupiter, 24.2, right? And that's off the Ajna gain, the 24, right there. And that's Taurus. Okay, so this is what the generators need to be aware of. Well, right away, it's a shadow of addiction. Right there, shadow of addiction. So generators have to watch that. And so right away, addiction, and it's coming off the mind. What is that telling you? The addiction really doesn't have to do with the substance per se, or the chemistry or anything like that. It has to do with this mind. It's a mental thing. Addiction is a mental thing. So this is the mind, right? Because we're going through a solar plexus mutation. Our emotional body is coming up to be purified, right? All of our memories, ancestral memories, and our own personal memories and past life memories, they're coming up through this emotional body. So with this comes a lot of pain, emotional pain, right? Emotional pain. So this is coming up, right? To be felt, and we haven't been taught to feel, right? The conditioning field's not about that. And then it comes to the mind, right? Because we've given our authority over to the mind. We're coming out of a mental awareness system too, right? It's experiencing life through the mind. So this pain reaches the mind, and then the mind wants to get rid of it, right? The mind is all about avoiding pain and chasing pleasure. It's like a computer, the mind. Avoid pain, chase pleasure. Then the mind goes into, what can we do? Well, let's drink some alcohol, right? Let's drink some alcohol. And it's so quick, right? So quick. And then the alcohol, right, depresses that pain. Pain doesn't go away. Pain just gets buried. I'll deal with it tomorrow. But it doesn't go away. It won't go away. Well, this is the addiction, because each time that pain starts to become in surface again, then, right, the mind comes up with this again. That's the addiction. So it's like the broken record. It's the broken record. It gets stuck in a groove, right? The mind can't get out of this groove. So this is the 24 for Jupiter, right? So what's Jupiter about in the transit field then? The planet Jupiter. Well, it rules the guidance, right? Jupiter's about Jupiter in the transit field is about your guidance. It's about the rules, right? This is the simulation, the rules that have to be followed, obeyed, rules that have to be obeyed, right? And this expands the matrix, right? Because it's Jupiter, it expands the matrix, right? So this is the guidance, the rules is follow your addictions, basically, right? Follow your addiction. Follow your addiction. Don't go to the root of what the addiction is. Just follow the addiction. And you'll notice with lockdown, right? They lock down gyms and health places, yoga centers, but they didn't lock up the liquor stores, did they? Right? Because this is a way of the program controlling people, right? Is addiction. So follow your addictions. So you've got your own Jupiter. You've got your own guidance. You've got your own rules that you have to obey, right? In this lifetime. And it's unique to you. And it may or may not be that 24. Maybe it's different, right? So if you have the 24 natally, then is the guidance to follow your addictions? No, it's to transcend your addictions. If you've got that 24 in the Jupiter position, it's about transcending your addictions, which is about the mind, and it's about silencing the mind, right? So meditation, feeling the pain that's emerging, right? That's how you transcend addiction. And then you go into the God mind, basically, right? Out of the personal mind. So that's the guidance. And this is about knowing too, as well. The 24 is about knowing. And if you've got this natally, it's individual knowing. So let's elevate this up a little bit, right? So let's go to the higher frequency of this 24, like globally, right? Globally. So maybe you don't know your Jupiter. It's the best to know your own Jupiter, what your law is. But if you can't, then let's look at it globally. You got second best here. Is going into your own individual knowing, right? Going into your own thinking for yourself, right? Not giving your power, outsourcing your thinking just to the computer screen or your phone or your friends or your parents or an expert, right? Is to be an individual thinker, right? Thinking for yourself. Okay. So what else do I want to say about this? I think it's like I'm getting it clear. It's about addictions and projection. It's about projection too with the second line. So the other thing I want to say about generators is maybe to be aware of being projected upon or projecting out. Oh, I know what it is. It just came to me. It's projecting out, right? Projecting outward. Okay. This. Because one of the keynotes of the number 2 is denial, right? So denial. What are you talking about? I don't have an addiction. I don't have an alcohol addiction. But maybe you've got an addiction to social media generators. Maybe you got an addiction there. Social media. Workaholism. Always being distracted. Always having your mind going, running. Running away from your sacral, right? Running away from your sacral, running away from your own authority. There can be a denial of this addiction. And in the great way your mind will let you know that you're doing this is you'll project it on other people. It's them. They're addicted, not me. I'm not addicted. They're addicted. So to watch this with this Jupiter, right? This Jupiter is to look at any parts of you that's addicted. And we live in an addictive world, right? There's Jupiter giving us permission on the matrix to be addicted. And social media is designed to be addictive to get you back on there. I haven't been on, I finally got off Facebook, 2 months ago or something like that. It just felt like a cesspool to me, like I'm not saying that it's bad or wrong for people to be on there, but it wasn't healthy for me. They email you and try to hook you back in, right? It's all based on addiction, social media. So to be aware of that with this 24. Okay. And also generators with the 24, because the 24 goes over things over and over and over and over and over and over. To be aware of that's just how the mind works with that 24. So if you find that your mind's getting spinny, right, you're under this influence. Once you know the transit, you're going to start to identify how they actually work in the body. And the 24 works like that. It's just like, oh, I got to go over and over and over and over and over and over and over these things. And if you have it natally, that's how your mind works. And then boom, something comes through, a knowingness, right? Something original, something unique. Okay, so there's the generator. And let's go for the manifestor. Okay. Okay, so there's the manifestor. And they're 9% of the world, the manifestors. And they've got the closed and repelling aura, right? There's the closed and repelling aura. They don't got the teddy bear aura like the generators. And they're here to inform or ask permission. It's another way of saying it too, ask permission. Okay. And then they're here to initiate. So a lot of manifestors, they don't want to be manifestors. They want to be generators, right? They want to respond, but no, they're here to initiate. So they ask permission, inform, and then they initiate something. So because a divine insight will come to them, and then they inform. And then if they're not operating correctly, they're going to feel angry, right? Or depressed. And then what they really want is just to be at peace, right? And they're here to have an impact on others. That's the manifestor. Okay, so let's see what we got for the manifestor. So I'm rolling the die manifestor to get a planet to focus on for you for this new moon. Okay, what do we got for the manifestor? We got the node. Okay, so we got the south node. And then I just want to grab another, because I talked so much about those nodes in my last video. We have another one for the manifestor. Okay. The manifestor clearly wants to be told. They don't like to be told anything of what I want to, because you're inviting me, manifestors. So they want to know about, this is about knowing, right? They want to know about these nodes. So watch the beginning if you've just joined in, the beginning of this video where I talk about these nodes. So you got the south and north node here. So this is the fear of failure, right? The fear of failure. So, and this is the movie, remember? This is the movie, the simulation that we're watching. This is not your movie unless you've got the 32. If you got Libra Aries, if you got Aries in the north node, Libra in the south node, but you got to check. You got to check the numbers here. Do I have these numbers? If you don't have these numbers, this isn't your movie. This isn't your movie at all. You've got a different movie. Okay, so and then This one is the shadow of expectation, right? Yeah, right here. Okay, so let's look at these from the shadow perspective. Okay, so just to work with this for the manifestors. So this is a failure. Okay, so failure and expecting. Okay, so let's bring it to the manifestors in terms of their strategy. They got the download. They got the download came in, right? Inspiration came in right there. Inspiration. Maybe the inspirations, I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to leave my job. I'm tired of working for people. This would be a manifestor. Manifestors don't make good employees, right? They want to be the boss. So they got the inspiration to finally leave that job. I got to leave that job. I can't be here anymore. And I've always loved to do, always wanted to be a life coach. Like we'll just use a general example. I always wanted to be a life coach and help people. I don't want to be behind the desk, right? Working for this bozo, right? I don't feel like my talents and my gifts are really blossoming, right? Okay, so that the inspiration comes in. Doom. Well, then what do you see? Right? What do you see here? Well, I might fail. I might fail. And what does that look like with the 32? I might fail because I won't have enough money to pay for my pay my bills, take care of myself. Right? What ifs? All the what ifs come in. And where's this coming in? It's coming from that mind, right? The mind is coming in with this, the what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happened? I would fail. I would fail. Right. So then making decisions, well, no, I'm not gonna inform, I'm not gonna tell anybody about my divine inspiration because I've been taken over by this shadow. Right. So then I don't initiate and then I don't draw. You got to follow it down the road. If you don't do this, what happens? Right. If you don't, well, maybe the divine stops talking to you. Right. She's not going to listen. That manifestor's not going to listen to me anymore. So I'm going to go over here. Right. And give this divine inspiration to another manifestor. And then that voice gets lower and lower and lower. And then you get pulled into the simulation. Right. So if you don't do it, that can happen. If you don't do it, then you're not initiating, and then you don't draw in the generators to you to help you out, right? Help you out, whatever it is. Maybe the generators want to come to you as a life coach, but you're like, no, I'm not following through on my strategy, right? I'm not doing it. So this is where failure can take you down, right? This is duration, continuity, same old, same old. I want to keep things the same old, same old. I don't want to change that tribal consciousness. It's all based on the old consciousness that's going. And then the 42 is the shadow of expectation, right? I'm expecting it. I'm expecting to fail. Right. I'm expecting. Do you see how the mind can just drag you down into some illusion that's not even real? Instead of just keeping it simple. Got the divine inspiration. I'm informing, I'm asking permission, right? I'm saying to my family, maybe my family members, you know what? I want to quit my job. I'm inspired. I want to move and follow my dream in this lifetime. This is what I want to do. I want to put out my shingle, get my website up, right? And then you're asking for permission from your family, and they'll be like, great. If it's correct, they're going to go, great. That's a great idea. And then you initiate and you make it happen, right? So you get out of this movie of failure and expecting to fail, right? Yeah. And then what I would say with this movie here is value, because this is about valuing what has life. What has life for me? What am I doing right now? Does it have a future? Is it uplifting humanity, what I do right now, or is it just for a paycheck? right? So the 32, the higher octave of the 32 is valuing what's uplifting humanity, what has a future for me, what can I see long lasting, what could I complete, right? Maybe it involves getting some skills or something like that. That would be the 42. And then the gift here with the 42 is detach, and that's detaching what it's going to look like, right? So I'm just like, I'm open to this new experience. That's the 42, right? As a manifestor, I'm initiating, I'm opening, I'm surrendering to this new experience. I'm detached from any outcome, right? And then I'm going to be pleasantly surprised as I take this new journey, right? So, anything else for that? It's funny you got both, both of the nodes. Yeah. So check out manifestors, check out what your movie is. So get your chart, jovianarchive.com. It's always in my information box. And then check out what your movie is. And that's what you want to be watching. Okay. Okay. So let's go to we're a projector. I almost forgot about us projectors. I'm a projector too. So the projectors are the new leaders for this new 400-year cycle that's coming. It's a very humble position, right? It's a humble position. So the projectors are here to guide the other types, with their wisdom and then their pattern recognition and being able to, because the projector, you're not going to have this colored in, right? That's the sacral, that's the life energy that the generators and manifest generators have. So we know how to use energy because we're not given a lot of energy. It's I didn't download the battery thing. Okay, another time. Okay, so focused and absorbing aura. It's the aura type for the projector. And they're here to be recognized, right, for their gifts and talents. The other types recognize them, and then they invite them. All right, so your aura is what attracts the recognition, not you go looking for it, right? That's not going to work for projectors. So when they're not operating correctly, maybe they're in this transit field, right? And they don't have the ajna or the throat defined, and suddenly they think they're getting all these great insights, and then they start acting on them, right? They totally ignore being recognized or invited. They start acting on these decisions, and what happens? They start to feel bitter, right? That's a big sign you're not making your decisions correctly. I'm bitter, bitter, bitter. And what you want when you're operating correctly is success. You feel successful, right? And you can see that. Look at that. The aura is laser. That's how it works. It's not warm and fuzzy. And it's going right to the G center. This is the G center. Is the center of identity. You can look straight into the identity of another type, right? And help guide them. Okay. And so if you're not invited, then they're not the people for you, right? Or they don't want your help, right? They're not for you. So no getting bitter. It's about going to the next, right? Trusting that your people will arrive. Okay. And they'll be looking for projectors more and more as we come closer into 2027. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to roll a die for the projectors and we'll see what planet it lands on here for the projector type. What do we have for the projectors? What do we have for the projectors? The sun. We got the sun. Okay. So projectors, if you're 43.2, then this is you natally. That's you natally. But if you're not, then this is the program. This is the program of the simulation of the matrix that we live in, right? So this is a major one. If you're getting influenced by this is 70% of the neutrinos come from the sun, right? And so they're carrying with it this information, this 43, pulling you away from your authentic self, right? Pulling you away from your authentic self. So this is the theme, the sun and the earth. This is the theme that the program is promoting, and it's all about keeping the species alive, right? So the sun spotlights this 43, and then the earth grounds it. So if this energy isn't you, then it's going to possibly pull you, right? Pull you into this, and then you start to think that you are this, right? So let's just look at the shadows then. If we want to use this global transit, this new moon cycle, is this is the shadow of deafness. Okay. And it's the gift of insight, right? Insight. And then this is complexity, the 23. Okay. Okay. So how do we make things complex? That's the shadow, complexity. That always has to do with the mind, right? Complexity and the intellect, right there, is when we're deaf, right? So deaf. So what are we deaf to? The projector, what are you deaf to? Well, to your own inner voice, right here. The voice of your soul, right? You're not listening. You're not listening to that. You're deaf to this. And then you're listening to the outside world. Remember that the projectors are very conditioned, right? Very, very conditioned, because they're rare. 20% of the world are projectors, right? We don't live in a projector world. We live in a generator world, right? So they're conditioned from the outside, from these external, not to mention just the programming, right? The programming simulation, but also, your parents, extended family, the educational system is moving you away of what it means to be a projector. So for instance, you're a non-energy type, right? That's not colored in. We live in a generator world. They got all the energy. They go, 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 go. So what do the generators do? They create the work schedule. They create the daylight savings time. They create all of that isn't in rhythm with the projector, right? So then you get conditioned out of that. Well, I can't be myself. I have to fit into this world, right? Especially these last 400 years. It's been all about tribal consciousness. So you learn to be deaf to your own inner voice, because it's dangerous to listen to that inner voice, right? It's dangerous to listen to your soul, because with that becomes a lot of change. People get upset with you. You're not following along. You're not being what we want you to be, right? So this can create complexity in your life. You see how these two work? So they can if you're deaf to your inner voice and your soul, then what are you listening to? You're listening to the outside. And when you're listening to the outside, you're listening to the mind, right? The matrix simulation is all about the mind. You're listening to the mind, and the mind makes everything really complex, right? Really, really complex. So I would work with this, especially with the sun energy, is to lift this up, right? Is to lift this up. So the fear, let's go into the fear here with this 4323 is rejection, right? So it's about fearing rejection, that I'll be rejected if I listen to my inner voice and my soul that's telling me, you know what? I'm a projector. I'm not here to work per se, but I'm here to study. I'm here to master a system. I'm here to help other people. I have to listen to this. I can't listen to my mind and my intellect. And things are changing so rapidly now, right? That I have to get over this fear of rejection, right? Fear of rejection by others. Okay, so let's raise it up with this 43 is insight, right? So that means you're not looking out anymore, right? You're not looking to for validation from others as a projector, right? You're going inside, right? You're staying in the core of your being. You're looking inside. That's insight. I'm looking inside. And then the 23 here is simplicity, right? So look at that. When I look inside, when I listen to my own voice, when I'm deaf to the outer world, I'm deaf to the Maya and the program that's telling me how I should behave and how to think and what to do and what not to do, and following the rules of the program that's not me, it's not authentic, right? Then simplicity comes, right? Simplicity. There's an elegance to that, isn't there? Right? An elegance to simplicity. And that's when you're listening to your inner voice and your soul, and you're trusting. And you're trusting that your aura will attract to you those people that are for you to help and to guide, right? So that's what I would say there with this sun position here. And then to look at your own sun. What's your sun? What's the number of your sun? The number, and then the line is going to give you a lot of information about what you're here to shine. Your essence will shine through whatever number that is, right? It comes with characteristics and qualities. So projectors don't get caught up in the complexity, being deaf, right? And everything's dropped. Everything is clamoring for our attention right now out in the world. And it's to keep us fixated on the external. And right, this is not the time. This new 400-year cycle is about going inside and claiming your own inner authority, right? As a projector type. Okay. But getting over that fear of rejection. Okay. What else is there anything else to say for the projectors? Trust and faith. Those are big words too for the next 400-year cycle. Trust and faith in the spirit. Okay, so let's finish it off with the reflectors. And I don't know if we have a reflector on here, but if there is, then pipe up and say, hey, I'm a reflector, because you're only 1% of the world, the reflectors. 1%, that's it. So they've got the resistant and sampling aura. So they have to follow the moon cycles. They follow the cycles of the moon, and they want to feel surprised. So they're chameleons, right? So they're chameleons. I think that's how you spell chameleon, something like that. Chameleons, because they're so different every day. They're reflectors. Whatever the moon, the quality of the moon is, they're going to reflect that back to the world. And so where they're not operating correctly, not embracing their reflector type, they're going to feel disappointed. So they'll feel disappointed mostly in people, right? So they're not surprised. So this is reflector. You want to be with the right people, right? You want to be with the right people, and then you're surprised. And your big question is, who am I today? Who am I today? And that's correct for you, right? This is the stigma here is, oh, you're a big phony, right? You're a big phony because you're so different. People are threatened by this, but this is you. This is who you are. That's why I love human design, is because you get to really accept who you are. And it's not the same old, right? It's not the one size fits all. Who am I today? That's your big question. So if we look at the moon, because you're going to follow, this is the new moon. So maybe make a commitment this new moon reflector is to follow the cycles of the moon, right? Maybe get yourself an ephemeris or go to a website where you see the moon changing. Even signs like you can start off small with zodiac signs and then get to feel, oh, I feel different today. And then you go to the ephemeris and it's, oh, the moon moved from Scorpio to Sagittarius. I was feeling so heavy and in my darkness and in shadow and right. And everything was so intense. And then suddenly I feel free. I feel uplifted. I feel optimistic. I want to go on a trip. I want to go on a little trip. I want to study something. And then you look and it's like, oh, the moon just moved into Sagittarius. And then it's not like you act on it, but you just take notes, right? And then you're going to see how impacted you are by the moon, right? So making decisions, you have to taste every single zodiac sign. You've got to taste every one of these numbers, right? As it goes through the cycle. So it takes 28 and a half days for the moon to move through all those gates, all 64 gates, 20 and a half, 28 and a half days. So you got to taste every flavor, right? So you're sampling, right? So you know how you go to a grocery store and you have those little food samples? That's what you're doing. You're sampling the moon every single day. You're sampling the new flavor, right, of the moon. And so it can go through 3 gates a day, right? 3 gates a day. So you're really going to feel it, right? I've tried to be more in tune with that, but I'm a projector, right? I'm not a reflector, so I'm not designed to do this. But I do notice when the moon shifts zodiac signs more than the numbers, the 64 gates. But this is a good way too of learning the transits for all the types, right? Is to look at the ephemeris. And Jovian Archive has a just I think it's called Just Now. It's called Just Now, and it will show you the transit of the day. Okay. And go back, reflector, watch the whole video. Reflectors have to watch the whole thing. That's why I end it with you, because you're going to learn about all the numbers, and I talk about the 43 at the beginning, and then deeper into it with the projector type 2. Okay. So that's what I have for everybody. And have a great new moon this November 12th. And hopefully that helped. And if it's of value, you can like the video, and please leave your comments below. And you can follow me too. I'm starting to do more about the day-to-day transits just through memes on Telegram and Instagram, and what's the other one I'm on? Just our YouTube community post too. And check out, if you want to learn more about your natal chart, the big kahuna would be like to have a one-on-one reading with me that you can schedule, and I go deep. It's more than 2 hours long, and it's very in depth, and you want to listen to it. I listen to my own readings at least twice a year, over and over, because it doesn't change, because you don't change, your chart doesn't change. And then I'm going to be if you can't afford that, then go for the general reading, which is really affordable. And that shows you your type and what foods you're supposed to eat, where you're supposed to live, and how your awareness works. And then I'm going to be coming out with some new readings too. Okay, but I'll announce that. Okay, so have a great new moon. Okay, take care, everybody. Satnam Aloha.